Hi everyone, in this video we are gonna analyze the economy of Mexico through some of its indexes. Located in the American continent, Mexico shares the border with the United States of America in the north, and in the south it borders Guatemala. With the total area of 2 million square meters, Mexico has 32 different states. Move on to some facts about the economy of Mexico. With the population of over 126 million people, Mexico stands at the 10th position in the world population list. Regarding the GDP, in 2020, the GDP in Mexico was recorded to be $2.715 trillion, ranked 11th. In the same year, the rate of economic growth of Mexico was 0.6%. However, its position in the GDP list could not help the per capita income to come close to the top rankings. In fact, this number for Mexico is around $21,000, standing at number 64. To discuss the economy in details, we're gonna look at its statistics in the past 20 years. Starting with real GDP, it is obvious that the GDP of Mexico had an overall growth in 2 decades, while its GDP remained relatively flat in the period of 2000 to 2003. It started to grow constantly after that point until 2008. The outlier in this graph can be seen in 2008 and 2009 period, where the number dropped rather quickly. This can be traced to the severe global financial crisis happening in early 2008. It costed Mexico a drop of 0.5 trillion GDP in only 1 year. Mexico's economy then recovered quite impressively, grew back constantly, and reached $1.31 trillion in 2018, despite slowing down a bit between 2012 and 2013. Moving to the GDP per capita, it followed the same trend with the country's total GDP, except for the time from 2000 to 2003, when it decreased instead of remained unchanged. Just like what happened to the real GDP, the GDP per capita grew until 2008 and plummeted in 2009, hitting a low of $9,000, same as the amount of 6 years before that point. And similar to the real GDP, the recovery after that was a big jump. We can also notice the similarity between the two graphs in 2012 and 2013, where both slowed down. Unlike the first two graphs, the GDP growth rate didn't follow a trend, and it was quite unpredictable in this period. It is clear that the rate varied by a vast amount year by year. However, there are 2 points that we need to pay attention on. They are 2001 and 2009, in which the graph growth rate dropped to below 0%. The numbers were minus 0.4% and minus 5.3% respectively. Looking at the 2009 growth rate and looking back at the GDP graph, it is safe to say that Mexico faced a severe recession in this year. However, this rate skyrocketed, hit a peak of 5.1% just right after the crisis. For the growth rate per capita, we can see at a glance the resemblance with the previous graph. Each period in this graph trended exactly like what happened in the growth rate of GDP, with the figure during the recession being minus 6.7%.
Regarding the population, the trend is quite obvious. We can easily notice that the population graph of Mexico grew linearly during this period, resulting in an increase of 26 million people in 18 years. The number of the years of 2000 and 2018 were 98 million and 126 million respectively. The population growth rate had an overall decrease in this 2000 to 2018 period. However, it remained positive throughout the examined period. This explains why the total population grew constantly, without a sign of decreasing or even slowing down. The first half of the graph seemed to reflect the personal GDP. It decreased to 1.44% in 2003, rose back to 1.5% in 2008, and then one more time declined. While the GDP per capita started to recover after the recession, population growth kept going down. Unemployment rate of Mexico was also affected by the 2008 crisis. After an overall increase from 2.5% in 2000 to 3.8% in 2008, it jumped up suddenly by 1.5% in only 1 year. However, with the opportunity created by the government as an effort to deal with the post-crisis, the rate declined continuously to approximately 3.3% in 2019. Regarding inflation, it's notable that the number dropped rapidly in the first 3 years of the examined period. It went down by 5% in the course of 3 years. The inflation then fluctuated in between the range of 3 and 6% before decreasingly to just over 3% in 2019.